Hey everybody, here's my pretty blog. So I said I was going to make one more recap video, and I promise this is hopefully the last time I have to address these things. But people are still having problems accepting some of the things about Christian Wicca. I'm still arguing with people in comments about it, and I wish that I could just refer them to one video where we could just lay these problems to rest. So, on my blog, I made a blog called Christian Wicca, Why It's Just As Valid. And I wanted to outline some of the arguments that I've heard and go from there. The first argument is that Christian Wicca attempts to combine two religions that have opposing views, two contradicting religions. And this argument comes to the assumption that Wiccans who use Christian influences bring into their path the entire religion of Christianity. It's not the case. In fact, when a Wiccan brings elements from any religion into their path, they rarely obey all the tenets of that religion because they are first and foremost Wiccans. They simply honor the gods and perhaps adapt a few practices. For example, a Christian Wiccan performing exorcism rites or something like that. I'll give you another example. In the Celtic religion of Druidry, we know that there are three elements that they have: land, sea, and sky. These differ from the five classical elements used in Wiccan ritual practice. A Celtic Wiccan uses elements from Celtic culture and religion, such as gods and ritual practice, but retains the Wiccan cosmology. So we don't hear arguments, except from a few fundy druids, that these two religions should not be mixed, because most people understand that Wiccans bring in aspects of that religion. Second one. Wicca is based on God and goddess. Christianity has no goddess and therefore cannot be used in Wicca. This is also wrong. In mainstream Christianity, there is no goddess, but there's over 35,000 different denominations in Christianity, including ones like Gnostic Christianity, which have more than one goddess. For many Christians believe that goddess worship is and was part of the Judeo-Christian structure from its beginning, but was covered up by the church. A few examples of Christian goddess are Ashra, consort of El. This belief is probably transferred from the Canaanite belief in the god Il and his consort. Also, Sophia, goddess of wisdom, is a Gnostic Christian goddess. There's many that revere the Virgin and Mother Mary as goddess. Little known fact that the Virgin Mary is also a product of divine conception. Lastly, many believe that Mary Magdalene may have been the wife of Jesus, and she was also worshipped as a goddess by some. Therefore, there are many goddesses to choose from within the Christian pantheon. Furthermore, one does not have to stick to just one pantheon to be Wiccan. Many use traditional gods of Christianity as masculine deities, whilst borrowing from other pantheons for feminine influence. As many Wiccans see gods and goddesses as archetypes, you do not need to stick to one specific culture, and many do not. The whole idea that Christianity is this one rigid faith that sticks to the Bible like, flies on shit or whatever is ridiculous. Most Christians don't honor the Bible that way. And I'll give you an example. I grew up as an Episcopalian. And in the Episcopalian Church, we have gay bishops and we have female priests. Two things that go against biblical tenets. The reason being is that the Episcopalians do not understand the Bible as to be 100% proof. They use it for inspiration, but it's not something that has to be rigidly kept to. There are very few Christians that actually believe that. In fact, most of them are centered in the United States, although they are spreading out into other countries. Number 3 argument, Christianity forbids witchcraft and therefore cannot work within Wicca, a religion based on witchcraft. Once again, this goes back to the idea that, Christian Wiccans have to honor the Bible to consider themselves to be Christian. That's not true. I would say with pretty much confidence that all Christian Wiccans would tell you that the Bible is a work of man and not of God, or at least only partially divinely inspired. And therefore, the writings of man do not influence the relationship with God. People back in biblical times understood witches to be people who poisoned livestock and cursed villages, and did not equate the harm-none philosophy of Wicca, and therefore, either way you look at it, it's irrelevant. It's disrespectful to bring Christianity, religion that persecuted witches, into Wicca. First of all religions persecute neighboring religions with the exception of a few. Christianity may have burned and persecuted people for heresy and witchcraft, but let's remember that the ancient Greeks who condemned Socrates to death for atheism, everybody likes their religion best, and especially back then, it happened quite a bit. Christians are not the only ones. The Romans also persecuted the Christians. It's just the way things were. But that doesn't mean that worldview has to be tied to that history. It doesn't. So, that pretty much clears up all the arguments to Christian Wicca. There's really nothing left. And if you can think of anything else, message me and I'll try to include it in annotations. But for the most part, just like any other Christian path, Christian Wicca is valid. Oh, and by the way, I'm not a Christian Wiccan. I just stick up for the underdog. I did it for Satanism, did it for the atheistic Wiccans, and I'm doing it now for the Christian Wiccans because honestly, the people who are intolerant towards people because of their religious faith, that's something that I think that this community, the pagan community, needs to live without. We ourselves are persecuted by others. We do not need to persecute others. Don't make the persecuted the persecutors. Don't think that it's okay to persecute other people just because you have an idea about a religion that may or may not be true. People are entitled to their beliefs. And as long as they're not hurting you, why do you care?